Goeiemôre, Honorable Cameron. Who handed? Good morning, Honorable Kola Barnett. Good morning, Honorable Topper. Good morning, Honorable Sols. Honorable James, good morning. And let me extend my warm greetings to you, Honorable Adams, SC, and your team. Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Chair.
Good morning, Honorable Mathale.
Good morning, Chair. Morning, Chair. Good morning, Honorable members.
Honorable Deputy Minister Mathale, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chairperson.
Good morning to you, the staff of Parliament, under the stewardship of Dr. Thuli, members of the media who have joined us. Good morning, the staff that is giving support to political parties represented in Parliament. I want to welcome you and thank you so much for your presence here. Honorable members, we are going to commence with today's proceedings. Senior Counsel, may I check with you if the witness who is appearing before us has been properly served and is the witness that we have been expecting?
Good morning, Honorable Chair, Honorable Committee members, my parliamentary colleagues, media, and everyone else in the room. Thank you. Today we present to you Mr. Cassel Mathale, who is the Deputy Minister of Police, or one of two Deputy Ministers. We've consulted with him, drafted his statement. He's had his statement vetted by his legal team who's sitting behind him, my colleagues at the back of him, and as far as I'm aware, he's ready to be sworn in and ready to give his evidence. His statement is an original statement that we drafted. So we're ready to proceed, Chair.
Thank you so much, SC. I just want to run through the following apologies. We have the apology of Honorable Cameron, who has a prior commitment. He's going to leave the proceedings in the afternoon. We have the apology of Honorable Sangoni, who has a parliamentary commitment. Honorable members will know that she is chairing a portfolio committee of Parliament. They have a scheduled meeting today. The apology of Honorable Mkhwanazi, who will join the proceedings later. The Chief Whip, if he's not the member entering the committee room now, I just wanted you to know that he was going to join us a bit later, and Honorable Malema will also join us in due course. You remember, we have given you the apology of Honorable Vessels the last time. He is not going to be with us for a period of about 2 weeks, starting from that day, because of the happiness that they are enjoying in the family. So he will come back to join the committee later. SC, before I administer oath on our witness, I want to make the following declaration. The witness that is here is Honorable Cassel Mathale, the Deputy Minister of Police in the Republic of South Africa. I know him very well, Honorable Breitenbach. I worked under him at the ANC provincial office in Limpopo when he was the provincial secretary there. And when he became the premier in 2009, he appointed me as the MEC for Cooperative Governance, Human Settlements and Traditional Affairs. And so in 2011, there was a provincial conference there where he was re-elected as the chairperson. And at that conference, I was elected provincial secretary. So I'm declaring it because it's not a secret. It's a relationship I'm proud of. He contributed a lot to my own political development. It's something that South Africans in that part of the country know it. So the reason why I'm saying it is because we have a business with him today and maybe tomorrow. And as the chairperson, I'm a human being. I must bring this to your attention, so that if at some point during the proceedings members feel that the chairperson is not conducting himself very well or is exhibiting bias, members must be free to do so and understand where the bias may be coming from. I'm not saying that there will be that bias. I must be professional, but it's important for you to know, Chief Whip, that I know the witness that is appearing before us, and it will be unprofessional of me and dishonest to keep quiet about it. Thank you so much. So you must keep me on check. If you see I'm veering off the road, whip me back to line.
Have no fear, Chair, we'll do that thing.
Thank you so much. Honorable Deputy Minister.
Sorry, Chair, may I just also declare that I do know Mr. Mathale. Not quite as well as you do, but nevertheless, I do know him. But you can be sure there will be no bias.
Okay. Maybe I must check if there is any other member who wants to make a declaration.
No, Chair, I'll chair the proceedings today. So my first rule would be you and that honorable out, please.
No, you must be on standby, honorable member, in case the chair veers off the road. Honorable members, allow me to administer oath on the Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable Deputy Minister, let me say the following, or let me read the following, that you have been invited to appear before this ad hoc committee which investigates allegations that have been made by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. You have been invited to provide information to this ad hoc committee in relation to those allegations, so as to help the committee on its oversight work and investigations. The allegations include amongst others, alleged unlawful disbandment of the political killings task team, otherwise known as the NPKTT or PKTT, alleged moratorium on the filling of vacancies within the South African Police Services, SAPS, and alleged corrupt relationship between leadership within SAPS and members of the public, as well as politically required to answer questions. Document could incriminate you or expose you to criminal or civil proceedings or damages. However, you are protected in that evidence that you will be giving under oath or affirmation before the House or Committee of Parliament may not be used against you in any court or place outside Parliament, except in criminal proceedings concerning a charge of perjury or a charge relating to the evidence or documents required in these proceedings. And please be aware that in terms of Section 17.2 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act, a person who willfully furnishes the House or a Committee of Parliament with information or makes a statement before it which is false or misleading commits an offense and is liable to a fine or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years. Honorable Deputy Minister, you are required to take an oath, and then you will indicate whether you are required to take an oath or affirmation, and you will indicate which one do you elect. If you elect to take an oath, you will say, I swear that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing else but the truth, and so help me God. And if you take affirmation, you shall say, I solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing else but the truth, and so I do. Which one do you choose, Honorable Deputy Minister?
Oath.
You choose to take an oath. And then would you want me to read, or you just say it?
You can lead, Chair.
Thank you so much. Let me read it in part. You will start by mentioning your names in full and say that I swear that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth.
I, Cassel Charlie Mathale, swear that the evidence that I shall give shall be truth.
The whole truth and nothing else but the truth.
The whole truth and nothing else but the truth.
And so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you so much. SC, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you, Honorable
So
Chairperson.
we shall run until 13 hours.
As you please. Thank you. And honorable members, good morning, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Morning, morning.
Every time I say honorable is a bit long, so when I say Deputy Minister, please, it's preceded by honorable. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you again for making yourself available and for your 110% cooperation with us in terms of preparing. Your willingness to serve before this committee and share your experiences are highly valued. You've been a deputy minister under former Minister Becky Cele, and also more recently under Minister Mkhwanazi.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So, given the terms of reference of this committee that you are familiar with, you can offer us some valuable insights into some of the challenges within the South African Police Service, as well as what some of the reasons are for some of those challenges, which we will discuss. And then also you've got some proposals to make for the committee in terms of the way forward on how to address some of these challenges and to what the remedial action to take place.
Yes.
So you're happy with that approach?
Yes, I am.
Now, if we may just start off, as indicated, you'd been a former deputy minister under Becky Cele from 2019 until June 2024.
Yes, correct.
The role that you played under Minister Cele, if you can I just take you to the...
There's no one in your contact named Minister Kelly, whose contact info are you looking for?
So when you have these fancy watches, Honourable Chairs, apologies. At the back of your, there's an annexure, CCM1,
Yes.
which is dated the 2nd of August 2019. This is a delegation of powers for you as Deputy Minister. Can you just take us through that and discuss some of these aspects that's mentioned in the delegation?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, and thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to appear before the committee. The delegated responsibilities that I was given by the minister were one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you very much. I'm audible now. Okay. It was Program 1, which is administration for the South African Police Service. And the second delegation was being responsible for the civilian secretariat for the police. The third was Independent Police Investigative Directorate, referred to as IPID, and CIRA. PCIRA, Private Security Industry Registration of South Africa, and the entities of SAPS, your DNA board, your DPCI judge. Thank you.
So, does this mean the scope of your functions as Deputy Minister, is it confined or restricted to these aspects that's mentioned here, police administration, public entities coordination, establishment of the Detective Training Academy, educational rural safety programs, women and youth development programs?
Yeah.
Is it confined to that, or
No.
or do you also have a broader functions?
I had broader responsibilities beyond this which have been stated here, and I will attend from time to time and when the minister will assign me other functions to do. For instance, we had a retreat where we took decisions that needed to improve SAPS, addressing a variety of issues, which I dealt with that, working together with General Ravi, who is head of the strategic division within SAPS.
So, can I understand it this way, that in relation to these 5 delegated areas, where you, in fact, stand in the shoes of the minister?
Yes, I was
He
acting.
delegated those powers to you, and you can take and make decisions, which obviously falls within the authority of the executive authority.
Absolutely.
But apart from that, you also interact with the minister on
Yes.
everything else.
on everything else. For instance, there are occasions where I will attend meetings that have got nothing to do with those responsibilities at the invitation of the minister. One of the meetings that I attended, for example, was a briefing in KZN. I think I went there twice, where we're discussing the political killings task team, for instance.
Okay. Can we just park that
Yeah.
for a moment, so that we can just understand the role that you play. Just as a matter of interest, you haven't been you didn't receive any written delegated powers of authority from Minister Mkhwanazi. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
Is there a reason why? Do you know why?
I will attribute that to the fact that the minister came into the police department and he had to familiarize himself with the workings of the department, which is quite extensive and broad. And since he came in to date, we were engaged in that process, which took quite some time, given the complexities of policing. And I think that is the reason why there was a delay. But I think we were almost at the tail end of those familiarization processes. Unfortunately, we are here and we have not yet dealt with that specific responsibility.
Except that it's more than a year.
Yes.
Since you were appointed as a deputy to Minister Mkhwanazi.
Yes.
And if you look at the date on this delegation of powers, it's dated the 2nd of August 2019. I think it's 3 or 4 months after your appointment in 2019 in May.
2019.
You were appointed as deputy minister under Minister Cassel.
Yeah.
On the 29th of May.
2019, yes.
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 And in August, you received this delegation of powers.
Yes, of course it was quicker. I mean, we must understand we are talking of two individuals who have got different experiences. Minister Cassel was a former national commissioner of the South African Police, and prior to that, he has been working as an MEC responsible for transport and safety in KZN. So he has been working in the space. And when I came in, he was appointed in 2018 as Minister of Police. When I came in 2019, he was already in the space. So he was fairly familiar with the workings of SAPS. That's why it was easy for him to quickly delegate the responsibilities. And I think Minister Mkhwanazi came in from water affairs, and he was in the public service and administration. So he didn't have the kind of exposure that Minister Cassel had, and understandably so. He had to understand how the system works before he could say, these are your responsibilities and these are responsibilities for the other deputy minister. So he had to familiarize himself with. And I think now as we speak, I think he knows what needs to be done and what needs not to be done with regard to delegation of powers. I can attribute the delays to that.
Would it be unreasonable to have expected you, as a deputy minister to Minister Mkhwanazi, to be closer to Minister Mkhwanazi given his relative inexperience in the role? The reason I ask that is so that we could just understand the scope of which we can inquire from you what the issues are in the police and how close or not you were to some of these issues, especially the ones that gave rise to this honourable committee which is the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi on the 6th of July. So if we can just maybe understand that.
Yeah. No, when Minister Mkhunu was appointed into the space, one looked forward to working with him, given the fact that we know each other before he came into the ministry.
Are you comrades or associates?
He is a comrade of mine. He was a provincial secretary of KZN at some point, and I was provincial secretary of Limpopo, though he came later on when I was almost about to exit as a provincial secretary. And he became chair of KZN, and I was chair. So we fairly know each other politically. He's my comrade, and I was happy that he came into the space, so we could start from where we last ended. And I did everything within my ability to be very helpful to him and the team. And it was not only me who was providing that support to him. I think he also had with him a legal advisor who is fairly exposed to law and to SAPS, even though he was not necessarily working in SAPS himself, Advocate Piccoli. And Gavinde has been a police officer, so fairly within the ministry there was that support. But also the National Commissioner provided the necessary support to the minister. So he was surrounded by all the people that I can say knew what needs to be done, and they offered that support to him.
So also just to understand, you said that Mr. Kabinde was a police officer.
Yeah, I came to learn that he was a police officer, so he understands how police work. I presume he does have that understanding.
Do you know that he also worked in IPID?
I also learned about that, yes.
Okay. And we I think most of us know Advocate Piccoli. He had in a previous life been the National Director of Public Prosecutions.
Yes.
So in terms of the legal framework and so on, I suppose that was a help.
Yeah.
But can you just take us through, don't spend too much time on it, what kind of briefings did you engage in with the minister in terms of just understanding how SAPS worked? The minister was appointed in July 2024.
Yeah.
So say between July 2024 and the end of the year in December 2024.
Yeah. We normally what police will do is to prepare a handover, and for the new minister. So he got that briefings, but from my side, I briefed him about the Department of Police, which is SAPS, your Civilian Secretariat for Police, IPID, CIRA, DPCI, and the entities that are there. And that we have the commissioner, the deputies and the provincial commissioners who have been working fairly well with. And of course, I did say that we are not a perfect institution. There are challenges, but these are men and women that I believe we can make our own contribution to the fight against crime in the country. So those are the issues that I touched on in my briefings with him.
Yeah, perhaps I was asking more about some of these briefings that would have been structured where you go to a meeting and presentations are made by various units and various sections within the police. Say, for an obvious example, on finance and how the budget works and how that's allocated and so on.
Yeah, thank you. We had briefings that deals with respective divisions within SAPS. We'll have briefings on visible policing. We'll have briefings on finances. We'll have briefings on detectives. We'll have briefings on DPCI, the Hawks. We had briefings on civilian secretariat and briefings on IPID. Each of these briefings, for instance, those that had to do with policing, in the main, the person at the center of the briefings will be the National Commissioner. And the National Commissioner, depending on which division are we dealing with, he will then invite relevant people who are responsible for the division. For instance, if it's visible policing, it will be led by the National Commissioner, and in attendance, it will be the Deputy National Commissioner, Visible Policing, General Msikidi. And she will come with the divisional head, which is General Mamuteti in this regard. And the detectives will also have the similar approach, where you will have the the National Commissioner and the Deputy National Commissioner Detectives, General Sibia, who will then come with his components to that briefing. If the briefing also involves the crime intelligence, the National Commissioner will come with General Sibia, the DNC, and the Divisional Commissioner, which is General Kumalo, who will then do the detailed briefings of that specific item. When we dealt with human resource development, it will be the National Commissioner, it will be the acting DNC of human resource, and then it will be the Divisional Commissioner who is responsible for that space. And in this instance, because the organizational design, for instance, falls within that department, that division, you will then have the study group that is responsible for organizational development, making a presentation on the structure of police. So we'll have those intense discussions, but all of them are led by the National Commissioner as the accounting officer.
And obviously during those briefings there'd be questions and answers and interaction, exchange of views and things like that. Now, what would be of particular interest would be the briefing on organizational design, the organizational structure, and so on. That is where you discuss the various components within the police and so on. Was there any specific focus on any of the dedicated task teams? We know within SAPS, and in fact you must confirm with us whether some of these task teams still exist, like for example child trafficking, abduction, mining, extortion. These are task teams that we know were established.
Yeah.
To your knowledge, do they still exist?
Yes, they do.
Now those task teams, and of course you know where I'm heading, the political killings task team, if you discuss the organogram
Yeah.
and the organizational structure, they wouldn't necessarily appear on the board or wherever the president. No.
Yeah. When a presentation was made on the organizational structure, we were discussing the structure in terms of what is there and what are the challenges that we are confronted with as a country. And we'll engage. And in the process of discussions with the officials, we then arrive at a determination, for instance, around the inspectorate, where we resolve that in terms of the structure and where we are, we need more men and women on the ground to fight crime. And we therefore resolve that we don't need to continue with the inspectorate, because the function that they perform is a function that the civilian secretariat they can easily perform that function, because they do visit police station to look at their operations and their functionality. So we then agreed to do away with that structure, and the personnel involved there is going to be placed in different responsibilities. And beside that, we looked at visible policing. We had a division of visible policing, and when we discussed it, we came to the conclusion that yes, it's a necessary function, but the way it is structured, we also need the capability to put boots on the ground to deal with crime. And therefore, it will assist us greatly if we can separate visible policing and operational response, which were made one. And we then separated them. And we said, if we can structure ourselves in this way, we can become more effective in dealing with the problems or the challenges that we are confronted with. So broadly, that is how we discuss the new organizational structure, which was signed off, I think, this is somewhere this year, May. I'm not sure of the exact date, but it took a while to finalize, because you must consult with the unions and everybody concerned until you all agree this is the structure that you want to have.
Was there any discussion about integrating or reintegrating some of these task teams into, for example, murder and robbery? Because that is the one category component that you have.
Yes, we did talk of strengthening murder and robbery, because that's our biggest problem. You have many people who get killed in the country. One which it creating a lot of problems, like the killing of traditional leaders. The House of Traditional Leaders have had engagement with us around that matter. So, and it's that and the killings that are taking place in the country, the Cape Flats, we have been here, communities are complaining about that. So we felt we must strengthen murder and robbery unit so that we can become effective in terms of the investigative capacity of our detectives around murder-related crime in the country.
Can you recall when you discussed organizational design, organizational structure, and would the political killings task team, would that have been specifically highlighted? Would it have been specifically mentioned, or was it just mentioned in passing?
Well, it might have been mentioned in passing because we didn't in the organizational structure discuss political killings because it's a task team that was established to deal with a specific problem. Here we're talking about a structure that must define policing in the country.
So just in relation to the political killings task team, you were appointed in May 2019.
Yes.
And you probably know by now that the interministerial committee
Yeah.
was established by the president in May 2018. So just over a year later, you become a deputy minister. When was your first experience of the political task team? What do they do? How do they operate? Who's in command, etc.?
When I first became part of a meeting, it was somewhere in KZN where a meeting was convened, and I was. I'm sorry.
Maybe put the mic up.
Yeah.
Then you can sit a bit back.
I was invited to a meeting in KZN where a briefing was done by the political killings task team. The interministerial committee of this team was taken mainly from the JCPS cluster ministers. The Minister of Justice and the Minister of Police were part of this ministerial committee. And below them were the operatives, where you had detectives and the prosecution authority comprising this team, which one might call a multidisciplinary team. And it also included the DPCI in that. So that was the team and how it was composed. The interministerial committee was the one that was politically responsible for the team in the 6th administration.
Would you, these interministerial committee meetings, they weren't frequent. They would be at most twice a year.
Yeah, no, they were not frequent.
Yeah. Would you attend these meetings?
I have attended 2 of them that I can recall, yes.
In your capacity as a deputy, or do you actually stand in for the minister?
I went in with the minister per his invitation. And of course, if the meeting is convened in his absence, then he will ask that I should attend. But what I recall are 2 meetings that I attended with him.
And at these meetings and the ones that you attended, you'd get a briefing from the political killings task team?
Yes. The operatives will be there and they will brief us about the work that they are doing.
Is that where you know Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and Lieutenant General Khumalo? I think maybe at the time he would have been a brigadier general.
Well, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, I've known him before I went to attend the meeting of the PKTT. Yes, Khumalo, I met him for the first time there when I went to KZN, and there was a briefing and he was in attendance.
And what was your experience of them briefing you and telling you what they're doing, whether they're achieving any success?
Well, the effectiveness of the team is not in question. They did an excellent job. Since they were instituted, there was progress around killings of activists, what one might call political killings that took place. There were progress. In fact, the effectiveness has never been an issue that was questioned within the space.
And when you said it was never in question, it never rose at all in your discussions with former Minister Cassel?
No. That question was never asked.
Beyond question.
Yeah, they were doing their job, and I believe they were doing a good job.
Okay. We know from former Minister Cassel that the last briefing to the IMC, the Interministerial Committee, was in March of 2024. Was that before the elections?
Yeah.
So, did you attend that one?
Yes, I did in KZN, yeah, at the Provincial Commissioner's Office.
Okay. And there was, did it follow the same format? There's a presentation to the IMC and there's questions, I suppose, questions, answers, and so on. And what was your feeling when you left that meeting as far as the political killings task team is concerned?
Well, the meeting went well, and I didn't get an impression that there are problems around the team. I think everybody was happy with what was presented and what they were doing.
Okay. So, just to continue along that narrative, since it's also our focus, then we have the elections, and Minister Mkhwanazi is appointed, and Minister Cassel is disappointed. But we know, of course, why was he's given an explanation why he wasn't appointed. He was too low on the list or something like that. But what was your reaction to the appointment of Minister Mkhwanazi?
Well, as I said earlier on, I was happy that he has been appointed minister, and that I was appointed deputy minister, and I was grateful that somehow the universe was aligned, that even though I have lost General Cassel, whom by then we were working extremely well together, but I was given somebody else that I knew and that I've worked with, and I believed that we were going to make a good team.
Mm-hmm. Did Minister Mkhwanazi have any specific discussions with you and or Deputy Minister Boshielo in relation to the political task team between July 2024 and December 2024?
Well, we have had. You come again with the question, Senior Cassel?
Did Minister Mkhwanazi have any specific discussions with you or meetings with you and or Deputy Minister Boshielo in relation to the political killings task team between July 2024 and December 2024?
Yeah. Okay. No. I thought you were having a conversation. We have had discussions around the structure, and the need for us to handle things in such a manner that we strengthen our capacities so that you don't have to create task teams to deal with specific challenges, because we will have developed that capability within the police to deal with the challenges that we are confronted with. And it is in this context that the issues that we discussed around the PKTT took place.
In Minister Mkhunu says that you can you recall having a meeting specifically with Minister Mkhwanazi in November of 2024?
Yes, I might not. We have had many meetings with him. So
Well, I'm talking about the task team.
That's why I said we did discuss the task team as we were discussing the problems that the structure and how we think the structure must be structured and how we must strengthen certain units like murder and robbery so that we are able to address the problems of murder in the country. Because the political killings task team, it's a team that came as a result of the murder that was taking place amongst, which are politically related. That's why it was called Political Killings Task Team, but it is murder. And there was also the problem of the killing of traditional leaders, which is not political. It is murder as well. And killing of ordinary South Africans because either it's a robbery or gang-related matters, which is murder. And the rate at which we resolve these crimes is worrisome. Hence, the need to strengthen the unit that deals with murder and robbery so that we are able to resolve any murder that takes place in the country. And in that context, then the issues of the task team like political killings came into the discussion.
Minister Mkhwanazi says in his statement at paragraph 84, and I think we have made these statements available to you and your lawyers. On the 21st of November, I convened a meeting with the Deputy Ministers of Police to discuss the various allegations against and other identified challenges within the SAPS. A decision was taken at that meeting that I would meet with Lieutenant General Masimola to raise these concerns and engage with him on the same.
Yeah, we have had discussions and we have agreed on various occasions that there are issues that the minister should engage with the National Commissioner and process them so that by the time they come to us, they will have processed those issues. In some instances, it was a meeting with the Minister of Police in the absence of the National Commissioner, and in other instances where the issue of the two of them interfacing, they were both present. In the presence of the Minister and the National Commissioner, I have said so on more than one occasion, that the Minister and the National Commissioner must process things. There are certain things that the two of them must process before they come and discuss with us, because it does not assist for us to go into a meeting sometimes with other deputy national commissioners and divisional commissioners. We discuss issues that they should have found each other on before coming to engage with us. So yeah, there are many instances where we have had meetings and agreed that the two of them must, from time to have engagement outside ourselves, because the absence of that will lead to misunderstandings amongst them, which can create a problem for us. And we are here now, I think, because of that.
But I don't hear you say, and I certainly can't recall hearing Minister Mkhunu say that those meetings, those engagements focus specifically on the political killings task team.
Yes, we have had a meeting where specifically we discussed that. I'm not disputing that.
Because he then goes on to say that on the 22nd of November, he met with General Masimola, with the deputy ministers, that's yourself,
Yeah.
Lieutenant General Sabia, and all the provincial commissioners present. But he says the purpose of the meeting was also to discuss the ministry's deep concerns about the elevated murder rate, the escalation of firearms, including illegal firearms, drugs, and GBV plus F issues.
Yeah, correct. We have had that, such a meeting.
Yeah. Okay. At these meetings that you held in these briefings, did the minister at any stage give an indication that he's either not happy with the task team or that he intended to have it disestablished?
Yeah, he did raise that matter, that it must be de-established, and we had discussions around that.
When would that have been?
I can't recall the exact date.
Now, you know by now that the minister issued his directive on the 31st of December 2024. Yeah. What was when did you first learn about the directive?
On the social media, that's where I picked it up. And then he then called, I think, was it, I'm not sure whether it was the first or the second, but early January, that the letter that is circulating, he wrote the letter, because I thought it's fake.
Is that the usual way you learn about what the minister decides or has decided, that you learn about it on social media?
Well, that's not a right way. We have been interacting all along about everything that is to do with policing, but this specific one, that's how we learned about it, unfortunately.
What was your reaction when you saw on social media that he had directed that the political killings task team be disbanded?
Well, as I said, I first dismissed it because it was odd for me to say something like that. And when he confirmed it himself, that he wrote it, and we must not be surprised. I didn't understand what could have motivated him to pen such a letter in the manner in which he did.
When did you first see the full text of the letter?
I'm not sure of the exact date, but yeah, I saw the full text. It was early January, though, still, and I read it, and I had a problem because the way it was written it was very difficult to comprehend how that is going to be realized, the content of the letter, because it was saying that the PKTT is disbanded with immediate effect, and that a close-up report must be submitted or a plan by 20 January, and then a close-up report by the end of the month. It was not practical to do those things.
So how would one describe your reaction to seeing this directive? Shocked, surprised?
It was unusual.
Baffled?
It was unusual. And I mean, it was not exciting. It was just problematic, yeah.
You because you also saw, and there's been, I don't know if you want to add your interpretation to the word immediately. You saw that in the letter.
Yeah, I saw that in the letter.
And I think you may have said that you found that to be
I've said it's
problematic.
Yeah, if something is immediate, is immediate. It is disbanded. It is disbanded, and then I need reports on this and that date. That closes this unit. It was problematic.
Now, you had worked with the minister for at least half the year, from July to December, and you've also known him in another capacity, as a political ally, comrade. When you saw the text or read the text of the letter, what was your sense? What was your impression? Is this the way he communicates? Is this the way he writes?
Look, it was very difficult to really put my thoughts together as to what was happening to him to craft the letter in the manner in which he did. And at the time that he did, I don't know what was going through his mind and the circumstances that he was in when he penned the letter. I don't know. Of course, he has said so to you here, that he was seated at home and maybe the environment was such that he could apply his mind and pen that letter. But I don't know what he was going through, because a strong letter is not a light letter.
Would it be correct to say he didn't consult with you?
Of course, he didn't consult. The only time that he spoke to me, it was after the letter was out, and he was saying, "Yes, I've penned the letter. Don't be surprised."
Did you ask him what the reasons were, what informed the letter, what his motivations were?
I didn't question whether it's right for him to write a letter like that, because when an executive authority makes a decision and pens it down so that there's no misinterpretation of the decision, he has made a stand. He took a stand and communicated that stand.
What was your or what is your understanding between the divide between policy and operations? And you've been a deputy minister for a long time. You're familiar with sections 206 and 207 of the Constitution. You're familiar with the provisions in the Police Act, which prescribes the role, the various roles of the minister, the national commissioner, divisional commissioners. This is a directive disbanding an operational unit task team within the police. Could the minister do that?
The minister can communicate his views. Whether he's legally correct or wrong, I might not be able to interpret that, but he can communicate his directives in writing. And it's upon the recipient to receive and respond to that. And I think the National Commissioner responded in a manner that the immediate part of it was not operationalized. Because we are all aware that the committee, the task team is still there.
So how soon into the new year did the minister discuss this with you? This is now after you.
I might not recall the exact date, but I mean, when we met and discussed, we discussed this issue way beyond January. That January has come and gone, and the PKTT has not been disbanded. But like I said earlier, that there were discussions around this. For instance, I remember a discussion where the issue of General Khumalo came into being, that as we are strengthening crime intelligence, it will be appropriate that he focus on crime intelligence, and probably the National Commissioner look at getting somebody who can full-time attend to the PKTT.
Yeah, you do mention, and you'll see at paragraph 54 of your statement, that the discussions you did have with the minister seem to be more about the head of crime intelligence now also heading the PKTT.
Yeah, because that was the case. Even now, because that decision has not been made, that is still the case. But one was of the view that if we were to be true to what we are saying, it will be appropriate that Lieutenant General Khumalo be allowed to pay special attention to crime intelligence, because he is responsible for that. And we get some senior officer, either a major general, to take up the responsibility of heading the political killing task team. Because even Khumalo, by the time he was heading it, he was a major general before he became a head of CI.
But there was never any talk of disbanding or disestablishing the task team.
Well, the earlier discussions that came, that the unit must be done away with, there was a discussion around that. There was, because we were saying let's strengthen murder and robbery, and all murder-related cases be dealt with by the murder and robbery unit.
But you can't remember when that discussion took place? Was that before the directive?
Before the letter, yes. Before the letter.
So let me come back to then what was your reaction when you saw the directive?
The letter.
Yes.
No, the letter. I'm saying that the letter came as a surprise to me, particularly the immediate disbandment of the unit and the dates that were set there. That to me was a problem, because the people who can be able to say, we think we can close up this through this particular process, are the operatives themselves out of an engagement.
Were you aware of the fact that the people in charge of the operations of the PKTT, General Mkhwanazi and Lieutenant General Khumalo, that they had not been consulted about the disestablishment of the task team?
Well, because the discussions we were having with the National Commissioner for that decision to ultimately be implemented, it will necessarily need the engagement of all the role players.
Yeah. But don't you think that the minister should have consulted with them? They're the people directly involved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the ultimate dissolution will have to take place after interacting with all the relevant role players, and this includes them.
The task team itself, was there any doubt in your mind that this task team was operating legally within the prescripts of SAPS, within an allocated budget, and falling under the authority of the National Commissioner, ultimately?
Yeah, I never doubted that.
Did the minister ever mention to you or indicate to you or give you any idea that actually this political task team is not operating legally?
Yeah, well, the discussions around this, it was not based on the legality of the unit or not, because that was never in question. I don't remember a meeting where we discussed that the team is illegal or something like that. That never arose.
Were you at the January the 8th ANC celebrations in, I think it was in Cape Town?
Yeah, I was.
In Khayelitsha?
Yes.
Did you discuss this directive with the minister at that gathering, or maybe even with former Minister Mathale at that gathering?
No, at the gathering, the minister was not present.
Did you discuss it with the president?
No.
Did the minister tell you that he discussed it with the president?
Well, he might have discussed with the president, because in our engagement we did say the minister must take the president into confidence on the things that he intends to do. So he must he must discuss with the president. Whether he discussed with the president or not, I don't know, because I was not in attendance.
Subsequent to the directive, and after you had sight of it or heard about it, read about it on social media, did you discuss the directive with the National Commissioner or any of the Deputy Commissioners, or with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi or Khumalo?
No, with General Mkhwanazi and Khumalo, no, but with the National Commissioner, in the meetings that he was in, we did discuss it, but not outside those meetings.
And as you were discussing it, what was your sense of whether this directive, which required the immediate disestablishment of the task team, where was this now going?
The immediate it was not happening, because, as I said to you, I mean, if up to now the task team exists. So the crafting of the letter, it just made it difficult to implement what was in there, because it's not possible. Once something is immediate, in the day-to-day use of immediate, it's immediate.
Okay. And the other aspects of this directive, that the National Commissioner must have a report ready on the 20th of January. Did you know whether that was done or not?
There are things that didn't happen because of that. For instance, the issues around filling up of posts didn't